do additional campus position due to staffing program needs. Do you know how many additional staff?
I don't have that off the top of my head, but I certainly can provide it.
In the budget,
I can go
September
back in the
25th.
September, sure. Oh, do you have the number?
I was just curious of the additional staff.
No.
So they're not teaching,
Yeah. I can provide you a breakdown since the beginning of the school year, the total additional staff that we have added to the general fund.
so is this 137 additional teachers?
In this budget amendment, there's 137 additional teachers and 28 additional staff out to the campuses. There are 4 clerks, there are 3 counselors, there are 15 assistant principals, there's 1 registrar, there's 1 specialist, and there are 3 testing coordinators. Now, do remember that in a previous budget amendment, the board had directed the administration to add counselors, and so I know that part of the additional staff this year to the general fund was that request to put out additional counselors out to the, and also there was also a request to add test coordinators. So in previous budget amendments this year, we added those. So off the top of my head, I can't tell you exactly the amount, but with a little research, I can tell you exactly in the budget amendments how many we have added.
And so the 25 million is out of the fund balance, correct?
25 million right now would be coming out of that fund balance of 291 million.
200
If
million.
nothing was to change, but one thing that I can guarantee you is those numbers will change before the end of the year, and I do expect those numbers actually to turn positive. We predict the numbers every single month just about, and we don't have a real good feel for that until usually after December break.
Thank you, Trustee Nuttall. Trustee Blackburn.
Dr. Terry, remind me again on the number of additional positions. The document says 165. Could you tell me once again how many of those are teacher positions?
137.
137 additional teacher positions.
Correct.
And this is a result of
Leveling.
leveling. So we have an additional how many students to justify an additional 137 student teachers?
Off the top of my head, again, I don't know, but I believe that number was close to 2,500. But again, don't quote me. Let me come back and I will give you an answer.
We have an additional 2,500 students this year that we had not projected. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
So,
But don't hold me to
yeah, I know
that.
someone's going to be
Okay.
able to help you though.
Oh, there is?
While we're talking, someone is going to find out how many students we have right now,
Okay.
today. Someone,
Well, you've got to remember that the way this works is that we try to pick the high enrollment. So the high enrollment at the school district usually occurs in about October. And then from that point on, usually in high school, you will see enrollment sort of drop off to the end of the school year. Middle schools usually follow the same pattern, and elementaries usually are level or in fact increase just a bit. So, and remember, we have to staff by enrollment and not by average enrollment. So we have to make sure, and that is to help us with class size waivers so that we can keep the class size waiver down that we have to give to a TEA.
let me ask it another way. How many students did we budget for, and how many students do we actually have?
I believe that we budgeted for something to the tune of 161,500, and I believe at leveling it might have been 162,900.
So, as of today, we have about 162,000.
I don't know the number today.
Yeah, I'm still trying to give somebody time to get it.
We keep track of that every single day, but I
Yeah, that's why I'm
don't
just
have
waiting for
available.
somebody to come with the numbers. All the chiefs on the front row, somebody has an idea how many students we have. I'm just filibustering, trying to give them time.
Yes.
because we ought to know how many students we have. But so far, what I've heard is that
Well,
we budgeted
if
for...
Gilbert Prado is here and VP is there, he could go look it up on his machines and run down, but I believe that VP, who keeps track of that on a daily basis, has already gone home, but I do know that Gilbert Prado is still here.
So we have budgeted for about 161,500 students.
That's I believe that's the number that was originally given to us by Laura Velia.
How you doing? I was going to say, we have a budget amendment just pulled for a separate item, and the budget guy's not here? It's
course
so
I
nice
will be
to see
here.
you. Of course you will be
Great
here.
to see you, too.
It's good to see you, too.
So, Mr. Terry is absolutely correct. We actually, the budget was developed around 161,500 students. We leveled at approximately 161,900 students. Currently, the student numbers reflected in the system is approximately 160,488 students.
Okay, I'm having a hard time understanding this. We budget for about 161,000 students. We have about 161,000 students.
About 162,000.
Okay, we have an extra 1,000 students.
Right.
And that calls for 137 extra teachers.
Yes, but I think that you have to also understand that it's how it's distributed. Now, I got a whole paper on theory that I could show you, but essentially it's this. It's the kind of students and the students in the classroom, so it depends on the number of rooms within a school and the number of teachers at a grade level. So as an example, you may get, say, 123 elementary schools. And you've got to then split that class down by hiring another teacher in order to stay under the 22-to-1. So now instead of one teacher teaching 23 students, you've got a teacher teaching on average 11.5 students. And so you don't get the real utilization of the teachers, and so it makes for a very inefficient system.
The time
Now, I
now
could
is 6:06.
go through and tell you how
We
you
have
can
a
make it
quorum.
much more
The meeting has
efficient,
been
but that's
duly
not
posted.
what I'm,
Good evening and
my
welcome to the
position
board meeting of the
here
Dallas
is just to
ISD.
try to explain to you how it is
I'd like to
that
take the time to
though
thank everyone for coming.
500 students may seem like a small
Silence
number
remains standing.
compared to the
Allegiance
number of
to the
teachers
Texas
that
flag.
we've brought on, but in case it depends on size of schools, number of teachers at a particular class level, and so the efficiency. If you look at the overall student-to-teacher ratio at this school district, it, I believe, is about 14.7 or 15-to-1. And that's not uncommon in large major urban school districts to have that low of level, even though you may have class sizes, in some cases, say 33-to-1 at a high school, but overall, when you average it, it goes way down.
Okay, I'm still going
Board
to,
members
we
present
only
starting on your
have
left, to my
500
right are
additional
Trustee
students,
Joyce Foreman,
and we need an
Trustee
additional
Mitchell, Second Vice
137
President Elizabeth
teachers.
Jones.
Do we have any idea of
Dr.
those
Lou
general ed
Blackburn is
teachers
in
or
the
those
building.
bilingual teachers?
Yes, we know exactly who they are and where they're at, and we would have to, we can provide you with that information.
I'm going to ask for
Our
a breakdown
Superintendent of Schools,
on the
Mike
types
Miles,
of teachers that
joins
we're
us, and I'm
looking
Miguel
for.
Sure.
Ortiz, board
And
president.
also, if you can tell me where those
Si alguien
additional
necesita los
teachers are going to be
servicios de
needed.
un intérprete
So beyond the
para escuchar la junta en
137
español,
teachers, we
por
have a
favor,
few other
levante la
positions
mano.
that are additional. Can you tell me what those
Okay.
are for?
La persona que
Yes, we've
está de
got,
pie en la parte de
again, we've got
atrás del salón
four clerks.
podrá ayudar.
I can tell you exactly what middle schools they went to.
Trustees, please help me at this time
We have got
identifying any
3 additional
elected officials in the audience.
coordinators,
We're glad to have you join us,
counselors that
elected
went to
officials,
3,
former elected officials. I know I saw Honorable Harriet Earhart.
went to Dade Middle School, to Spruce High School, and to Hood Middle School. We've got an additional
And if we are missing
16 assistant principals. I could name all of the elementary schools, middle schools,
we'd like to take this
and
time
high
for our
schools that
accolades to
they went
recognize many of
to.
the great things
We have
happening
one
at Dallas
registrar
ISD.
that went to Thomas Jefferson High
Congratulations to
School.
Dallas ISD's 4
We have
2000
one specialist that went to Carter High School.
Kathleen Joy Gilliam,
And
Collegiate
we have
Academy.
3
Dr. Wright,
test
L. Lassiter
coordinators. One
College.
went to Carter High School,
MW
one to
Longfellow
Brown
Career
Middle School,
Exploration
and one
Academy, the
to
School of Business and
Humphrey Lee
Management.
Elementary.
Okay, good, I appreciate that specificity. Going back to the 137 teachers,
staff and
Have we
parents of these
started
schools.
posting and hiring for those
Students at the
teachers?
School of Science and
believe so.
Engineering swept the
So,
competition at a recent
We're
UIL
expecting to
event.
find
16
137
students
teachers
from SEM won every
in
category at the
almost
UIL,
Halloween.
UIL Princeton Fall
Well, I
Classic
think that
on October 5th.
Ms.
almost Halloween.
Darville
Categories
has
included-
created almost impossible, where we started the school year with, I believe, something to the tune of 22 teachers, so.
English
Let me
If
National
make
anybody
sure,
can do
let
it,
me
she
make sure
can do it.
Carmen's going to say the same thing. So Carmen, right now, we don't have these 137 teachers.
National
We
merit.
have to hire these 137 teachers. Is that correct? So we have posted on the website, at least
Now,
right
this is
now,
the Texas AP
the
State
need for
Scholar.
137
This prestigious award is
additional
given
teachers
to one
from
male
what we
and one
have right
female
now.
student each year who had the highest average score on the highest number of AP exams taken during their entire high school career in the state of Texas. She is now a proud student at Rice
Currently, you will
University.
not see all of those
Congratulations
positions
to all of those
posted. So we post at the request of the campus. When they're ready to
announce
staff a
that-
position, we will post.
Dr. James Terry,
So you
the
guys
CFO
are
of
asking for
Dallas
positions,
ISD,
but you're going to wait for the
just found
principals
out
to say that they
a couple
need
days ago, if I'm not
positions.
mistaken, or yesterday,
Is that what you're saying?
Well, we understand that there's a need when they're ready to hire. So in terms of closing in on the need, we know that we'll have people graduating in December. There are people relocating out of the area. We still have people applying regularly for our teaching positions.
So we have
it is an
positions
award that
that you're
distinguishes
asking
North
for,
Texas
but you're going
financial
to wait for the
professionals
principals
who
to
have
request
demonstrated
that they be
commitment to their
posted.
respective companies'
We're
financial best
working in
practices,
conjunction with them. We
accounting
still have a
standards,
general
success,
teacher posting where we can
strategic
screen applicants
and
as they're
set them apart.
applying
Under
on a
Terry's
daily
direction,
basis,
the
weekly
Dallas
basis
ISD
to
was able
ensure we're
double
building
district
a candidate
general
pool
fund,
for them.
secure funding for major renovation to district schools.
So
and
we know where the
improve its Moody's bond rating
137 positions
AA
are
minus to AA, as
designated.
well as its S&P
For instance,
rating
we
for
know that
financial
Roosevelt
management
should
from
get
regular to
5
strong.
positions.
Dr. Terry,
let's
thank you
say.
for your service and
And
congratulations,
you're waiting
sir.
for Mr. DeVoe to decide that he needs those 5 teachers before you post it. Is that what you're saying?
It's now time in
That
our
is-
program where
that
we
he is ready to
recognize
hire
those
for them,
students and
correct.
staff who have made outstanding
But the leveling
achievements and
says
who
that there's a
earned
need.
significant-
Or we're
Correct.
going to wait until the principal decides that they want.
We work in conjunction with them.
Again, if I can get a list of where all those teacher positions are assigned,
Yes.
and if there's a District 5 school
Miles?
that has the need for additional teachers, I hope they'll be posted so that at least the students in District 5, but let me just break it down. I think all of our students need to have the teachers, whether the principals want them or not.
Please come forward as your name is called.
Thank you.
Trustee Solis.
Point of information, yes, ma'am.
So who's teaching the kids now? I mean, if we are needing additional 137 teacher positions because of leveling, and we had additional 500
Joined
students,
by
so
Principal
that,
Teresa
so where are
Serducci,
the students housed
Trustee
now
Blackburn,
who's teaching?
Sylvia
Well, the students are in
Cummings,
classrooms with the
Alice
teachers we have, so what it
Elizabeth,
probably
and
means
Yvonne
is many of the
Elliott
classes
Center.
are larger sized. So
And where
there's
are
33 kids in the classes Jim
Ryan
made
Smith,
reference to
teacher at
earlier
Harry
than
Stone
instead of,
Montessori,
say,
joined by
25.
Principal
And where are the
Murray.
larger sizes? Have we targeted the larger sizes?
Well,
Schools with the,
I think I would have to defer to Jim's list of exactly where the schools are. I don't have in my head where exactly the larger sizes were, although
for the 137, can you just tell me some of the schools that are needing additional teachers?
Yeah, I truly will need to, I can provide you that list by tomorrow.
So if I understand correctly, we're asking a budget amendment, $6.5 million for 137 teachers. We know we need them. I guess what Carmen said, that they have yet to post them, so principals can hire them. And I'm just concerned about where are the students, and if you are going to take a ACP test in December and you don't have a teacher in the classroom and it's a class size of 50 students,
Well, do remember that, we have to come to you all and ask you for the money in order to hire those teachers, because you all determine what that budget's going to be, and if you don't want to pass this budget, then it's hard for us to, start the bell to hire these teachers.
so it's back on the board.
Hey,
Back on
Trustee
the-
Nuttall,
It is,
we're going to make our way around
I mean, I
for another
was
round.
finished, but-
I know, but thank you. Trustee Mitchell?
Well, I want to understand how the posting of the positions works. if I'm a teacher and I'm looking to work at Dallas ISD and I look on the website for the postings, and if I'm say an elementary school teacher, taught third grade, if you have a posting for 20 third grade teachers or one third grade teacher, the applicant is still going to be applying for that position, right? It's almost like irrelevant to the applicant from the applicant's point of view, because if you do have a posting for an elementary school teacher, is it? And I'm asking these questions, so I don't know the answers. Does it identify the campus?
It depends how it's posted, but usually from an applicant's perspective, they want to get an application on file for a particular position type. So, for example, if someone applies for a teaching position, they're applying for teacher, various campuses, etc.
But the specific campus is not listed, right?
There are both types of postings. You can have a posting. It depends on the level of specificity of a position. For something general, such as generalist EC to 6 that can cover all of elementary, there are general postings.
Could I add something, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yes, so for example, we have 222 schools, so 137. Keep in mind, it sounds like a big number when you're talking about less than, one per school, almost one half per school. And a good example for most of these is a school that has an elementary school that has 25 in one class and 26 in another class. So because of leveling, we want that number down just a little bit. So we have to give another teacher to that school. So those kids are not being educated right now. They're in a class with 26 kids. They should be in a class with 22 kids. And so they will get that other teacher soon. The principal is looking for somebody now. Theirs posted, and they'll soon say, I found a candidate. And if it's a specific one, we'll have to post specific. But if it's a general one, like an elementary general ed teacher, then that hiring will happen pretty quickly.
Okay, just to follow up on that, I could see that if there are general postings there, it really wouldn't make a difference if you posted for 25 third grade teachers or 5 third grade teachers. The applicant is not going to not submit their materials or their resume based on whether there's the exact number of positions that we're looking for. But to the extent we have specific postings for particular campuses, in agreement with Dr. Blackburn, it doesn't seem like we should be waiting for the principal to process some paperwork before we post it when we know that we need the posting. So I would hope that you all would try to streamline that process rather than have a kind of a waiting point where a principal has to say, okay, yes, we've looked at leveling, we need 3 more third grade teachers or whatever the position happens to be. Human capital management knows that, but then they wait for the principal to come back and say, yes, we do need 3 more positions. So
It can be a same-day process, but we do have to work with school leadership to understand specifically what they want posted. So at the secondary level, you can add a teacher, but we know it may be in various subject areas. So that's where we work together with the campus, but it can be done very quickly.
Okay, is it in fact done very quickly?
Yes, I think school leadership would vouch for that, when they are ready to post, we can post same day.
Okay, so with respect to these 137 positions, how many of those are currently posted?
We would have to segment it by certification type that they're seeking. The majority would be there's a posting out there that is similar.
Okay, well, I think what we're getting at is that if there's a delay in this process, we need to figure out a way to eliminate it because we want, obviously, teachers in the classroom. And I do appreciate the great work that Human Capital Management did to start the overall hiring process early and to make sure that we minimize the number of vacancies. I appreciate all that hard work, but this looks like another area where streamlining would be possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Mitchke. Okay, I have a question. Let's just move really quickly back to adult and community education program through December. This is going to be funded through December. We're going to get our money back. You're going to work with some other entity to provide the services until the end of the academic school year. And what happens after that?
The adult education program becomes part of the overall grant with the Workforce Solutions of Dallas.
Okay.
So it will we'll have to decide if it's in our facilities or if it's used in the other facilities that the entity has. That's another question that we need to go down at a later date.
Okay. So I just want to make sure that we're clear. Because I think people may be getting the wrong impression that we're supporting or getting behind adult basic education. I heard a lot of claps when we were talking about that. This is until the end of this school year.
Yes, sir.
So my question is, we're looking at a budget amendment through December. The grant has already run out. We're going to hope that another entity will pick up those services through this new grant. We're not supporting that grant because we're not going to sign that grant because the new workforce grant.
Right.
Because why?
I believe there's some legal language that you have before you that will explain it more. If there are other specific questions, I'll have to ask Jack to join me up here.
Before I ask those questions, and Jack, I might need some help on that one. There has been a rumor going around in the community that has come back to me and maybe potentially other trustees as well, that the new grant will not allow individuals who need to access some of these services to access them if they do not have a Social Security number. Please clarify that for myself, this board, and the rest of the community.
So when the fiscal agent is now the Texas Workforce Commission. And after the sunset, I'm giving you a long history here. So after the Sunset Commission reviewed the grant under the TEA, which was an education grant, they decided they needed to streamline and combine it all into one and give it to the Texas Workforce Commission, to then give it to workforce development boards, local boards, to then become the fiscal agent and manage the grant. That entity, the Workforce Commission, has metrics that is related to workforce readiness. And so that is the intent, is that individuals are trained and then brought back into the workforce for jobs. And so however that looks for an employer, whether it's a Social Security number, I-9, whatever, I don't know that, but they have to be employable at the end of their education.
So let me ask this. Currently, Dallas ISD, in finishing out this grant, is not asking community members who sign up for a Social Security number.
That is correct.
Okay. Let's just hypothetically think for a second, if at the end of the school year we finish out the services with some entity, not really sure which entity, but some entity, and we don't sign this grant, we potentially lease facilities out to another entity to continue to conduct these services. However, that entity then begins to say, we need to see your Social Security number. A lot of the individuals that potentially were clapping in this room about 10 minutes ago may not be clapping because they're going to be kicked out of those services, hypothetically.
And I wouldn't say kicked out, they just couldn't enroll into the program for the next year.
But currently they're in the program.
Currently, they'll continue on through the program through June.
And then next year, potentially, given these new metrics, they won't be able to go.
That is a possibility.
Okay. So, Mr. Elrod, Mr. Miles, if you can answer this, I'll ask it through you, and then if you can't, then I'll ask Mr. Elrod. break it down for me pretty simple. I'm not a lawyer. Why aren't we signing this new grant? I've heard 400 some odd pages. There's a memo with legalese. Just make it real simple for me.
We had some issues with the contract that the Texas Workforce Commission wanted to sign. There were some legal issues with that contract that would put the district at risk, and so we didn't sign it for that reason. The specific legal issues, I think Jack and others can define for us.
Can you help me out, Jack?
You've got a memo that Gilbert Garcia, one of our staff attorneys, did that has gone to all of you. That is attorney-client protected. You are the client. I'd prefer if there's real detail that you want to get into that you just look at that memo. It's very detailed. This whole process is unusual. It's different from anything I've been through. What I would like to do is, this is document right here that we were sent and told was the contract. And I have never in my 13 years here seen anything like this that the district was asked to sign. It's full of an awful lot of information that doesn't pertain to the contract. It has conflicting information. It has information that has no real bearing on it. The fact is that it's our opinion that it would be very hard for us to protect the district should there be anything come out of this.
Quick question. What other entities have signed that?
As far as I know, all of them.
Do some of those include school systems, school
Yes.
districts?
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to be supporting this amendment because I want to make sure that these people get the services. And I'm happy that we're getting our funds back. But I am a little concerned because I get a sense that we perhaps haven't, and this may be unfair, but that we haven't done everything we could potentially do to ensure that we can continue these services. I don't believe the board can force the administration or our general counsel to sign a document that they don't feel comfortable with. And I'm not asking the board to do that at this moment. But what I am asking the administration to do is to help me better understand how we continue to support these individuals that have gone through this program. And here's the reason why. I've heard multiple times in asking questions to get to this point, perhaps this is a philosophical conversation. Do we as a district want to invest district dollars or resources into adult education because it could potentially lead to mission drift? What I mean by that is we're here to educate kids. And we can have that philosophical debate. Or we can have a philosophical debate about what this program does for our kids. I can almost guarantee you that many, if not all, of the individuals that are taking advantage of this program do indeed have kids in this school system. And many of these services that are being provided actually help them prosper as individuals, but more importantly, help them communicate with their kids, get a better understanding of what their children are learning, build relationships with their kids, communicate with their kids, get a better understanding of the district. So for me, it seems like we should be trying as much as possible to come up with solutions to ensure these services aren't dropped next year, and that we don't create new rules for these people who have taken good advantage of this system to better their lives. Why does this matter to me? I would imagine 80 to 90% of the individuals that are part of this program can't vote for me. I don't care about that. I care about making sure that the kids of this school system have every opportunity to succeed, and this grant has provided that. That grant will continue to provide that. So whatever we can do, we need to do to make sure we support that. Thank you. And I want to also do one other thing before I pass the mic for a second round, if there are any other questions, is that my questions to you, staff members, I'm not asking those questions in a way to demean you, to grill you, to put your feet to the fire. I'm asking you these questions because I want to work together with you to come to a positive solution for those people and those children. I appreciate the work that you've done to this point. I'm going to ask you to continue to work hard to make sure we come to a good solution. Any other questions? Dr. Blackburn?
I have a feeling that the administration can be very creative on how to help our parents learn along with our students. We use Title I funds for our most neediest students. It might be possible that our most neediest students might learn alongside of their parents. I'm just saying, it might work. But I think you can be creative. I think you can come up with something. But let me go back to the summer program. We're talking about $170,000. This is $170,000. Does that include some of those 165 additional positions?
I believe not the 165, but it does include, I believe, 2 positions.
So we have 165 positions plus the director and the coordinator.
Correct.
So now we're up to 167 additional people.
Correct.
And earlier, when Trustee Foreman asked about Samuel, you said that the reason for that increase was because of additional staff. Did I hear you correctly?
Correct.
And how many additional staff are we adding to Samuel Early College?
Well, that's the part of that is in the leveling, and I'm going to provide you where all of the 137 teachers are located.
So the $165,500 that is additional budget for Samuel Early College is not for teachers, not for staff, not for employees?
Some of it is. There's $100,000 in there for textbooks. There's also early duty pay of $5,000, general supplies of $30,000.
So it's not for additional people?
It's not totally for additional people. $15,000 for professional development, and
so we're not paying for additional employees,
For-
additional positions for that school. Is that correct?
we think that that's correct, but we'll double check.
Okay. I think you'll get back to me. Let me go back to the number of teachers. I'm still a little bit concerned that the superintendent had a mission, a goal of having 0 vacancies at the beginning of school. And I believe we came up either 6 or 16 short. 16 short. Very admirable. So once we finish leveling, did we still have only 16 additional positions?
I don't know on that particular day, but this would be 137 above what we originally had budgeted for. So as you know, it was perceived need by school leadership and human capital management that those teachers were critical and needed to be added.
Yeah. You know, I'm a little bit disturbed that someone identified where we needed positions, what grade level, what subjects. Somebody identified that through leveling, that we needed additional teachers, we needed additional clerks, we needed additional counselors. Someone identified that, and yet right now we don't know where those positions are.
We do know where they are. I'm just not able to bring them to you, and I don't think it was a somebody. I think it was it was all of the 5 associate superintendents and the 25 executive directors working with, 223 principals who said, and looked at their need and looked at class sizes and said, look, this is what we need that we think that will help us be successful in our academic program and help us with succeeding to bring about the academic improvement in this school district that we want.
Yeah. I am very hopeful that we did not overhire at the beginning of the school year. I am very hopeful that we did not overhire. And I am still somewhat surprised. Now, I wasn't here at the briefing to ask these same questions, because I would have asked you then to tell me where are these positions going. And evidently, neither one of my colleagues asked that. So I'm sorry to take a little bit of time now.
No
But I
problem.
will be sending you an email asking you where each of those 165 positions will
You'll have
be
those
going.
tomorrow.
And I'll also ask you, of those 16 vacancies that we had on the first day of school, did we still have all those teachers in place somewhere throughout the district after leveling? Because it sounds like we didn't do a good enough job of projecting the number of students that we would have, nor where they would be, nor what subject and grade levels.
Our demographic department does a really excellent job. They're usually less than 2% variance from what they project. So for a school district this size, they do a wonderful job.
Yeah, $6.5 million off.
Remember, it was only 500 students, so if it's 500 students divided by, almost 250 schools, that's, less than 2 students per school. And if
Divide
each school's
500
got,
students by 137 teachers, approximately how many do we have then? I understand how you guys are looking at it. You're spreading it out across the number of schools.
Right.
We're talking about students. So if we have 500 students more than we projected, that's about, 2, 3 to 1.
but you really got to look at 10,000 classrooms, and you're trying to put 500 students into 10,000 classrooms. And then if you look at the percentage that way, it's infinitesimally small. And the demographics department does an excellent job.
So in other words, you're telling me that the class size waiver is just a formality for right now, that with these extra 137
Not a
teachers,
formality,
we
it's
might be able
a measurement date,
You have to report that to TA, that's what I'm saying.
on a measurement date.
So with the 80 classes, most of them are 1 or 2 or 3 students off.
Yes.
And I'm thinking at Harris Stone, we have 5 classes that are off. So Harris Stone could potentially get at least 1 additional teacher. And maybe all these 80 classrooms will not need to have more than 22 students. But I'll wait for the information that you're going to have for me tomorrow, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Blackburn. Trustee Noto?
I had a question. To understand the adult workforce, can you just clarify what classes do they offer for? Oh.
GED, ESL, and then civics, a civics class. I think those are the only 3 that we offer.
And it's how many?
Students, 2,300.
2,300. And so with the GED, ESL, and civics classes,
And bulk of them are ESL.
huh?
A bulk of them are ESL.
The buck is ESL. So for the other, are they all our parents, or is it some students who graduated?
They're our parents.
The majority, all of them are parents. And so for the other parents, what are we doing for the other ones? What kind of services are we offering for the other parents?
I'm sorry.
Because this is just 2,300.
Right. I'm sorry, like, it's an open enrollment. Anybody can come. We put out flyers, we market it. So are you saying the other parents within the district?
So when we get ready to, you said we're going to outsource it, are we going to look at strategic areas like Oak Cliff, North Dallas, Pleasant Grove, to make sure we're covering all? Because it's at one place. Where is it now housed?
It's in 4 places.
4, okay.
So there's 3 in the district and then 1 in Carrollton ISD,
Oh,
that we use their facility.
and our parents,
Go there.
they're all DISD parents,
They go there.
so we can't take outside parents.
We can take anyone, but it's mostly marketed to our parents.
So the 2,300 are all DISD parents?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Trustee Noto. Trustee Jones?
I think we have to be very careful how we talk about this. I mean, first of all, I want to commend the Workforce Commission for the work that they've been doing, as well as our Workforce Solutions of Greater Dallas and their support. But I do want to echo something that Trustee Solis has talked about, which is we really are here for our parents. And what we really need to do is up our resources as it relates to educating the whole family and bringing families together in the education system. And I believe that that's where we should be looking to find the resources necessary to supplement what otherwise the state has provided and otherwise what we've worked from. And I commend the district for starting that process. But, you know, let's not dance around this bush. It is important that parents are part of our education process. And it is very important that we engage parents and help educate them so they can be better advocates and better educators in the homes of the children. So, you know, how we get that done, President Solis, that I believe should be part of our parent engagement and parent strategy. But I want to go back to the budget right now with respect to the numbers. I had a number from you, I believe it was Dr. Terry, that the projected enrollment based on the budget expectation was 161,477. Does that sound about right?
Yes.
So what you're saying is that we're not at 161,477, we're at another 2,500 on top of that?
No, it turns out it's another 500.
So we're still over 100, we're almost at 162,000 in total
Correct.
enrollment as of today. So
Not as today, as of leveling. Remember, the way leveling works is that we have to choose a day, and we try to choose the day that's
Fair
the
enough.
highest enrollment, and enrollment usually will then start to decline over the rest of the year.
So we peaked arguably at nearly 162,000, and what
Correct.
you're saying is that's where we leveled. And based
Correct.
on that leveling, we're adding another 100, or you said 130,
137
Teachers.
teachers and another 28.
but at the
Campus.
same time, we're asking for waivers. So connect the dots for me. So the waivers are based on what? If we've got the faculty and we've managed to do the proportionality in terms of adding additional teachers, that's not what I'm...
Well, I could go into it and tell you about, you know, the number of classrooms and how the classrooms break out. And again, the best example that I can give you is if you have 124 teachers, 124 students in a classroom, and you go and you divide that into 2, you now have a teacher teaching 12 students each. So, you know, that causes you to have more teachers. But also, it depends on the classrooms within a grade level, within a school, okay, that can cause you, as an example, you may have you may have a school in which there is not another classroom, so you can't divide that. So it depends on a particular school.
Yeah, I understand that, but the thing
Okay.
the math that isn't making sense to me is how it all balances out. We've got a number of schools at overcapacity with classrooms that they can't expand because they have nowhere to go. and as a result, they're handicapped or prevented from adding additional sections for teachers because there's no place to teach. So we've got a whole host of that going on in the district. In addition to that, you're telling me that the actual population was well in excess of what we projected, and then based on leveling, we need to add more capacity by way of teachers. However, at the same time, we're being told that we need to, level, put more kids in a classroom. Something's not adding up.
Well, I don't think that, missing 500 and divide that by 162,000, you're going to find that projection is less than, 2%. So actually less than 1%. So the projection's not bad, but then you have to go into what the principals, and remember, it's a principal that determines, what they need in terms of the educational program for the kids. And there's the executive directors within the cluster and associate superintendents, they all get together and they decide that, this is what we feel for our academic program we need in order to be successful.
I'm not arguing with the increase, and certainly to the extent that we have crowded classrooms, it's better that we try to manage to where teachers have a load that they can do with some sort of meaningful support. So obviously we don't want 30 or 40 or 50 kids in a classroom. It's not in the student's best interest. It's certainly not in the teacher's best interest. But I'm just trying to understand, the numbers to me just don't add up. And I think what might make sense is to go campus by campus and show how it plays out.
And I will provide you that information tomorrow. I will provide the whole board the information as to where they're all broken out at.
So how many vacancies do we
I
have?
can tell you this too, is that those numbers we ran for comparability, and the numbers are comparable across the district.
So that's good. That was another question I had, so thank you for preempting that. But how many vacancies for teachers do we have as of today? Absent this 137 leveling number?
It would be approximately 60 absent this number.
So we have 60 vacancies since the start of the year. So the 16 went up to 60?
Well, you have moving parts. So you have teachers who may have resigned since the first day or passed away, whatever the case may be. In addition, as people are leaving, principals are still staffing. So it's not just a clean number in terms of it's been static. So you do have the leveling additions, but you have movement even in that other number as well.
Okay. So if that could be factored into the analysis, that would be very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Jones. Trustees, any more comments? Okay, Trustee Mitchke.
I would just like to get that particular number, the number of teachers who have resigned since the beginning of the year, and the number of teachers we've hired since the beginning of the year. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Trustee Mitchke. Trustee Cowan.
Just quickly, I want to voice my support with the other trustees, and especially President Solis. We had this adult basic education conversation maybe 4 or 5 years ago with Dr. Hinojosa, and it always comes around to what our purpose is and who are we here to serve. We also need to remember we're also here to serve adults who are charged with getting our students to school on time, to sit with them in their living room and help them read. So anything we can do to help support that mission, I'm supportive of, and I look for you to find a solution. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Cowan. Trustees, any more comments? Any questions? Okay, trustees, hearing none, please cast your votes.
Motion passes, 9 voting yes.
Okay, trustees, you've just adopted the motion, thereby approving the budget amendments for October 22nd, 2014. Our next item is 7A.3, to approve the monthly financial reports and the monthly tax report for the period ending August 31st, 2014. Consent item number 3, pulled by trustees Bernadette Nuttall and Joyce Foreman. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
It's been moved by trustee Bingham. Do I have a second? Seconded by Dr. Blackburn. Trustees, is there any discussion?